What's going on, gang? Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ, and in today's video, we're back at it looking at some more NBA player props for tonight's one-game NBA slate. We've got the Atlanta Hawks versus the Milwaukee Bucks, Game 2. The first game was super exciting. I'm excited to see the rematch here in Game 2. It was a wealth of fantasy goodness in Game 1, so hopefully a lot of these overs, these player props, end up hitting tonight as well. Now, today is Follower Friday, and if you're unfamiliar with what Follower Friday is, well, give me a follow on Twitter at Curry the Creator, and make sure you're following PrizePicks at PrizePicks. And we tweet out some lines every Friday that, hopefully we hit. But if they do hit, they end up paying out a 25% payout boost. So one of the participants earlier today put out a line that Sean Mitchell, in case you're unfamiliar with him, he's like the CSGO king, the CSGO god right now. So credit to Sean Mitchell. He put out a winning CSGO lineup. I tailed it and did pretty well on it. So I'll get a 25% payout boost for tailing that exact line. So that's how it works essentially in a nutshell. I'll tweet out a line, you tail it. If it hits, it's a 25% payout boost. Doesn't matter if you flex it, doesn't matter if you power it. It's all up to you. So me and the rest of the people in our community, our Patreon members, we're looking to put together the best two-pick line that we can tonight, and hopefully we continue the success that Mr. Sean Mitchell started out for us earlier in the day with a winning CSGO line. If this is your first time on the channel, hit subscribe. Make sure notifications are turned on. I drop videos daily. We're talking prop picks right now for NBA, but soon it'll turn to MLB, and then eventually we'll get to the NFL season. So this is a fantastic time for you to definitely subscribe and follow along. Also, if you don't play on PrizePicks yet, now's a great time to do that as well. Hit the link down in the description below, or just use promo code Curry. They're doing a 100% instant deposit match on your first deposit of $20 up to $100. So if you want to only put in 20, the minimum amount, that's fine. They'll match it and give you another 20 for you to start out with. You'll have 40 bucks, doubling your money instantly. It's a fantastic promotion. Again, promo code Curry, or use the link down in the description below. Also in the description, I'll leave a link for our Discord community if you want to jump in there, mix it up with other PrizePicks players or players who are just out there making prop picks on other sites. There's a community for that. We have one. It's the Out of Bounds Discord community. So link for that is down in the description below. But without further ado, let's start getting into a couple of these prop picks that I'm liking. See if we could finish the week on a high note here. The first one I want to talk about is Khris Middleton. Now, we took Khris Middleton the other night in Game 1. We took him under his 23.5 point prop, and it ended up working out for us. Now, we talked about in that video how Khris Middleton has historically struggled against the not the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Hawks, the other bird of prey. He struggled against them throughout the regular season, and so we took the under on Khris Middleton. Now, do I expect him to struggle as much as he did in Game 1? I don't know. I don't think so. But, maybe there is a little bit of a snap back closer to his averages. I just don't know that he gets all the way up to 24 or more points. So let's dig into it, and we'll start looking into this prop here for Khris Middleton. Now, he's projected for exactly 23.5 points over on NumberFire. I went ahead and took the extra steps, looked at a few other sites, averaged them together. I've got him at 23.6 points. So just a very, very slight nod, a slight favorite to go over 23.5. This one can be one of those ones that can be essentially like a coin flip. It could really go either way here, but I got him going as a slight favorite to go over 23.5. Now, for the regular season, he scored 20.4 points per game. Obviously, that puts him well under 23.5 points. We'll scroll down here on NBA.com. We'll take a look at his last 5 games in his game log. We got him at 19 points, 25 points, 38 points, 23 points. And this was the last game, or the first game in the series against the Atlanta Hawks, where he dropped just 15 points despite playing over 41 minutes and attempting over 23 shots. He shot a miserable 26.1% from the field, going 0 for 9 from beyond the arc. No, I don't expect him to go 0 for 9 again. But you could see that he did struggle in that game pretty mightily. So with that out of the way, we can go over to his playoff averages and take a look at those. You see he's played in 12 different games so far, over 39 minutes per game on average. He's averaging about 22.6 points, putting him under 23.5 points. And from there on, we could go and click traditional splits. We'll take away the playoff filter. We'll look at the regular season matchups against the Atlanta Hawks here. I'll show you those again. I showed you in the video I made the other day, but let's look at them again just as a refresher. So we run the report here against the Hawks. He played the Atlanta Hawks 3 different times throughout the regular season, over 33 minutes per game, averaged just 17.3 points per game. Now, for whatever reason, he just struggles against the Atlanta Hawks, which is why I tend to kind of lean toward the under on this 23.5 point prop. So there you go. You can see how well, or how unwell he's done against the Hawks throughout the regular season. So if we move it over to RotoWire, we can take a look at his points prop of 23.5, and you can see across 3 different books here, we're not seeing super strong action one way or the other, favoring the under or favoring the over. At the first sports book here, we've got him as just a minus 118 to go over. The next one actually has him as a minus 114 to go under. And then finally, we've got him dead even at minus 115 under, minus 115 for the over. But you can see we're not really getting any kind of strong, clear signs of which way to go here on Chris Middleton. But me personally, I'm going to stick to the under until he proves me wrong against this Atlanta Hawks team. You can see he struggled throughout the regular season, struggled in game 1. His projections aren't super strong. So I'm just going to stick to the under and treat Chris Middleton as an underplay at 23.5 points. All right, so the next one is Danilo Gallinari. Now, when I saw his prop of 13.5 points, kind of led me to think, man, that seems a little bit too high for Danilo Gallinari. He's not the first option, second option, third option. He might even not be the 4th or 5th option. I don't know. He's a good scorer, but 13.5 means he's got to score at least 14 or more to go over this point prop. So let's just go and look at Danilo Gallinari's points projection and kind of go from there, and we'll see what it's looking like. So we got him at 13.6 points. So again, this is kind of like a Chris Middleton situation where he is slightly favored just by a teensy little bit to go over the 13.5 point prop. Now, like I said, with Middleton, I went out to other different sites and I kind of averaged them together. I got him at 12.7 projected points tonight, which puts him under 13.5. So it's going to be another one of those situations where it could kind of go either way. So let's dig into the numbers here on Danilo Gallinari a little bit. You can see for the regular season, 13.3 points per game, putting him under 13.5. So somewhere between that 13 to 14 point range seems about right for Gallinari on most nights. If we go back to June 14th, the 5th game back in his 5-game game log, he's dropping just 7 points there, falling well short of 13.5 against Philadelphia. Now he comes back here with 3 performances in a row where he exceeds 13.5 points, covering tonight's prop, 16, 16, and 17. But the game against the Milwaukee Bucks, game 1, he drops just 9 points, plays just 25 minutes in that game, so his minutes were down a little bit as opposed to some of these other games where he picked up about 30 minutes in those. So he shot 4 for 9, didn't really take a whole lot of shots in that game. Does his shots potentially go up tonight? Potentially, maybe. And he only attempted 3 3-pointers in that first game against Milwaukee as well, just going 1 for 3 on those 3-point attempts. So let's go ahead and look at his playoff averages so far. He's played in 13 playoff games throughout this playoff run for the Atlanta Hawks. He's averaging about 25 minutes per game, and you can see his scoring average is at 12.2 points per game, putting him under his season average of 13.3 and putting him well under 13.5 by over a full point. So kind of get an idea here. Gallinari, 12, 13 points seems doable for him. Hard for him to get up there most of the time to that 14, 15, 16 point range like we saw in that 3-game stretch going into that Philadelphia series, going back to that Philadelphia series. So let's go ahead and click traditional splits here. We'll remove the playoff filter. Looking at just the regular season here, we'll click advanced filters, change this to the Milwaukee Bucks. And we'll run that report and get an idea how well he scored against the Bucks throughout the regular season. Now, he only faced them twice in the regular season. He played just 19.8 minutes, His minutes were actually down against the Bucks versus where he's been playing throughout the playoffs at about 25 minutes per game. But you could see he had a couple of good games there, obviously 16 points per game, putting him over 13.5. So again, we're seeing some conflicting information, right? Season averages are below 13.5. His playoff averages are below 13.5. But if we go back to the regular season, which is almost like an entirely different season in itself versus the playoffs, you can see that he scored 16 points per game in 2 meetings against the Milwaukee Bucks. So we'll wrap things up by going over to RotoWire. We'll look at his point prop across various sites here. We got him at 13.5. Actually, only on one sportsbook do they have him at 13.5. And at 13.5 points, they are taking the under, minus 116 to go under. A little bit of juice, a little bit of action going toward the over at minus 106. But it's going to be another one of those 50-50 balls here, one of these coin flip situations. And I think that I'm going to take the under on Danilo Gallinari, despite the fact that Number Fire had him at 13.6 points, despite his previous regular season success against the Milwaukee Bucks. I just don't see it. I'm not a big buyer on Danilo Gallinari going for 14 or more points tonight. So with that one out of the way, we're going to talk about an assist prop that kind of caught my eye, and we're talking Giannis Antetokounmpo at 5.5 assists. The over looking like a good way to go in my estimation here. Giannis, I think, had like 9 assists in the first game against the Hawks. This was a very high pace, up and down, back and forth type of game. So if that's going to happen again, and if guys like Chris Middleton, who's kind of projected to go over his points prop, or a guy like Drew Holiday, who's projected to go over his points prop, those guys are projecting to have good games, well, somebody's got to be dishing them the basketball, and hopefully, more often than not, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo. So let's move it over to Number Fire. We'll go up and click the assist column, and we'll go find Giannis Antetokounmpo here. He's at 6.2 assists, which puts him as a healthy over at 5.5 assists on PrizePicks. Now, as I have done with all the other players, I went ahead and averaged out his assists across a few different sites, and I landed on 6.4 projected assists, which puts us even higher than what just Number Fire by itself has him at 6.2. So 6.4 assists versus 5.5 on PrizePicks. So let's move things forward here. We'll look at his regular season averages, 5.9 assists per game. Yeah, that puts him a little bit over the 5.5 mark, puts him very, very close to 6 assists, which is where we need him to be, 6 or more dimes, and we make a little money on this prop here. So let's scroll on down, look at his last 5 games. And you can see that in his last 5 games in terms of assists, more often than not, hasn't done a great job of dishing the ball. Now, most of these were against the Brooklyn Nets. Actually, all of them, 3, 4, 3, and 5. He goes under in 4 straight. But the first game against the Atlanta Hawks, a change of story here, change of scenery, 9 assists. So maybe he regresses a little bit and doesn't have 9 assists tonight. Maybe he comes back down a little bit. But, you know, this is a situation where even if he comes down by 2 assists, even 3 assists, and lands on 6 assists, well, we're still making some money here on this prop. So I'm feeling pretty good about it, that he can get it done, as he kind of is that do-it-all type of guy for this Milwaukee Bucks team. So let's close that one out. Let's go and check out his playoff averages so far. He's appeared in 12 playoff games, averaging about 39 minutes per game. If we move it on over to the assist category, you can see he's dropping about 5.4 assists per game, which puts him slightly under his 5.5 assist projection on PrizePicks tonight. But this isn't like 4.4 assists, 5.4 versus 5.5. We're talking semantics here. It's, in the neighborhood, in the ballpark. So I'm not too worried about that. So let's click traditional splits. We'll remove the playoff filter. We'll click advanced filters, change his opponent to the Atlanta Hawks, and click run it. And once this report generates here, we'll take a look at his numbers. And he's appeared in 3 regular season games against the Atlanta Hawks this season. Played just 32.2 minutes. Now, his minutes are going to be much higher now throughout the playoffs, probably closer to about 40 minutes or more. So expect these numbers to be a little bit more inflated. So we'll go over to the assist category, 4.7 assists. So, that is obviously below 5.5. But again, if you add on another 6 to 8 minutes to this 32.2 minutes per game average, I'm sure he picks up 1 or 2 more assists, putting him at the 5.7, 6.7 assist mark. So I think it's well within reach versus what we've seen throughout the regular season so far. So we'll head back over to RotoWire. Let's click the assist category and look at where they've got him across the various sports books. We've got him as a minus 143 to go over. Very strong odds to go over. Minus 128, not too shabby. And then we cap things off here. He's a minus 133 to go over. So we got 3 books with pretty strong odds, pretty strong action on the over on this 5.5 assist prop, meaning that he should go for 6 or more assists. Do I think he goes for 9? Probably not. Probably comes down a little bit, but I do think 6 is definitely within reach here for Giannis Antetokounmpo. All right, so with that one out of the way, we're going to talk about a couple of rebound props, and then we'll get you out of here so you can go lock in some picks if you're liking any of them. If you're not liking them, don't take them. Hey, it's as easy as that. I don't know any more than you guys. I look at these numbers, we look at them together, and we have to try and make the most informed decisions that we can here. But the next guy I want to talk about is Trae Young, who's at 3.5 rebounds. To me, it seems a little bit light. It seems doable. It seems like something he can definitely get and cover. So 4 or more rebounds, obviously, is what we're aiming to get here out of Trae Young. I'm looking to take the over on this one. So back to number fire we go. We'll click the rebound column. Let's scroll it on down here to Trae Young. He's at 4.7 rebounds, putting as a healthy over on this 3.5 rebound prop. Now, again, I went ahead and averaged out a few different sites, putting him at 4.6 rebounds. That's where I have him projected today, which is a slightly less number than this 4.7, but 4.6 still puts him as a healthy over versus 3.5. So let's move things forward to NBA.com. You can see for the regular season, he averaged almost 4 rebounds per game, which is a good sign for us. 3.9 puts him over 3.5 by quite a bit and puts him really, really close to 4 or more rebounds, which is what we need if we are favoring the over here like I am. So we scroll on down. Let's look at his rebound totals throughout the last 5 games. He's covered in 3 out of 5. You got 4 rebounds going back against the Philadelphia 76ers on June 14th. This game, just 1 rebound in that one, so not a very good rebounding performance there, but comes back with 5 boards. Then he has 3 coming very close there with that 3, and then finally 7, which was the first game against the Milwaukee Bucks, or his last game that he appeared in. So 7 rebounds. He absolutely cleared and crushed 3.5 rebounds in that game. So that's a very encouraging sign here. So let's move things over. We'll take a look at his playoff averages so far. 13 games played, 38.5 minutes per game. If we look at his rebound totals throughout the playoffs so far, just 3 rebounds per game. But 3 to 4 rebounds in that range, I'm feeling all right about it. It's not really going to knock me off of taking the over on Trae Young here. So we'll click traditional splits. Let's remove the playoff filter, click advanced filters here. And you guys can go out and do all this yourselves. This is NBA.com, totally free. They've got all the stats you could possibly want. We're going to look at the one regular season matchup that he had against the Milwaukee Bucks. 36.9 minutes, almost 37 minutes played in that one. Scored just 15 points, kind of struggled in terms of scoring. But let's look at the rebound numbers. He averaged just 2 rebounds in that one previous matchup. So a very small sample size. His minutes are going to be higher, being that it is the playoffs. 36, 37 minutes. That should see an uptick to about 40 minutes tonight. So more opportunities with the shots that will be flying around for rebounds. And I like Trae Young to still cover that 4 rebound prop. So with that one out of the way, let's go back to RotoWire, and we'll click the rebound category. We'll find Trae Young here. He's at 3.5 boards across 3 different sites. Minus 127 to go over, minus 122 to go over, and minus 125 to go over. So these aren't super strong odds. These aren't like a minus 150 or anything like that, but they all do kind of lean toward going over on these rebounds. And I do think this is something that Trae Young could definitely achieve tonight. Definitely doable for 4 rebounds or more. That's just how I'm feeling about it. All right, we're going to cap things off by talking about cap. And I'm talking about Clint Capela, who's at 13.5 boards. Now, he was an absolute monster in game 1 against this Milwaukee Bucks front court. Bucks played more small ball. Brook Lopez wasn't out there. Didn't really seem to fit the scheme for the Milwaukee Bucks. So you saw a lot more small ball. You saw Giannis Antetokounmpo matched up against Clint Capela for a lot of the game. So we're looking to repeat, go back to the well here with Clint Capela and these rebounds. I'm looking to take the over. If he could pull down 19 boards, let's say he doesn't pull down 19, you take away even 5 rebounds. I mean, that's a lot of rebounds to take away. Take away 5 rebounds and he still lands on 14, putting him as an over in my book. So we're going back to number fire. Let's scroll to the top because he's going to be the highest projected rebounder in tonight's game. and you got him at 14.5 rebounds on number fire. Now, I went and did some averaging myself, and I actually have him at 14.7 rebounds, which is a 0.2 rebound increase versus what we have here on number fire. So that's like 3 or 4 different sites. I go out and average them out, and that's kind of what we have there as the consensus, 14.7 rebounds, which puts him well over 13.5. So back to NBA.com. Let's look at his rebounds for the season. He's at 14.3. Another encouraging sign that 14 or more rebounds is definitely doable for Clint Capela. Of course, he's put up 20 plus rebounds in a game before. So this is no problem, no worry in my book. But let's look at his last 5 game logs here, because his rebounds have been kind of up or down. We go back to June 14th against Philadelphia. Obviously, he's matched up with Joel Embiid, one of the elite centers in the league. 13 boards. Not getting it done. 8 boards, 11 boards, just 6 boards in that last game against Philly. But look at the first game here against Milwaukee, where he pulls in 19 rebounds. 15 of those were just defensive rebounds. So a major uptick in rebounding at the start of this new series here against the Milwaukee Bucks, which is a great sign for us. So let's go look at his playoff averages so far. He's appeared in 13 playoff games, averaging over 33 minutes per game, close to 34 minutes per game. And in those 13 playoff games, 12.2 rebounds per game. So his rebounds are down considerably versus where he rebounded the basketball throughout the regular season. But, not too worried about that. So let's click the traditional splits here. We'll look and see how well he's rebounded against Milwaukee in the regular season matchups. We'll remove that playoff filter, click advanced filters, go down to the Milwaukee Bucks, run this report. And let's see how well he's done. He played Milwaukee 2 times, saw them 2 times throughout the regular season, 35.6 minutes per game, and he ended up pulling in 15 rebounds per game. So in 2 previous matchups in the regular season, he exceeded 13.5 rebounds, and in the 1 playoff game that we have to sample from, he pulled in 19 rebounds, guys. So things are looking good here for Clint Capela and the over on these rebounds, in my opinion. So we'll finish things off. We'll wrap it up here by going back to RotoWire. Let's look at Clint Capela across the board here at 13.5 rebounds. We got him as a minus 134 over, a minus 120 over. And this one's a little funny to me because I don't know why, but they're taking the under here at minus 125. So a little confusing. We got 2 sports books out of the 3 that have him going over 13.5 boards, and we have 1 book that favors the under. So a little bit of a toss up there, but I'm leaning with the 2 books that have him going over. I think I've seen too much evidence here throughout the regular season, throughout this first playoff game against the Milwaukee Bucks, that Clint Capela can absolutely pull in 14, 15, even up to 19 rebounds against an undersized Milwaukee Bucks lineup. So I'm taking the over on Clint Capela and these rebounds. But you guys let me know what you think. That's going to do it for today's video. We talked about a lot of props. Which ones are you liking? Which ones are you hating? Leave a comment down in the comment section below. Maybe there's a prop I didn't get a chance to discuss and you're really feeling it. Leave that down below too. We love to read your feedback, your comments, and try to get into the minds of what you guys are liking for tonight's NBA game with the Hawks and Bucks. Anyway, my name's CJ. Have a happy weekend. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Curry the Creator. It's hashtag Follower Friday. 25% payout boost if you tail the exact line that I tweet out. There's going to be a couple of other people out there, partners with PrizePicks, who tweet out lines. If you follow their lines, you'll get the same 25% payout boost like I did with Sean Mitchell's fire CSGO line. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you over here on Monday. Good luck tonight on PrizePicks. Peace out.